them sent in 3 questions, and we picked the 25 best questions to ask the Judas Priest press conference. First, let me introduce the members of the band. KK Downing here.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Next, of course, we have Rob Halford. We have Glenn Tipton next. And last but certainly not least, we have Ian Hill. The members of Judas Priest, ladies and gentlemen. Now we will go by and ask questions one by one and see what they have to answer. First, we have Greg Tribbett from Pekin, Illinois. Greg, stand up, please. Ask your question.
How did your group get together, actually?
How did we get together?
Ken and Ian were in a band originally, and they asked Rob to join, and then they all asked me to join. And then we asked Dave to join. That's basically it, really.
It's a very difficult question, but that's basically what happens, you know, when you leave school. You start to rehearse and practice as individuals, and then somebody knows somebody 2 streets away, and, you know, it's sort of...
There's a lot of getting together and splitting up and getting together again.
Yeah.
They didn't really want me in the band, but I was the only other guitarist in Birmingham that was any good at all, you know, so they got no choice, really.
Okay. Next, we have Marilyn Schneider from Sparlin, Illinois. Marilyn, what's your question?
If you had to do something else for a living, what would it be?
Drive a truck.
Interesting question here.
I'd be a gynecologist, I think.
I'd be... difficult to follow that one. How about a professional tennis player?
Rob?
No? Okay. Maybe not.
I'll be a porno star.
Ian?
I think I'll be a brain surgeon.
A brain surgeon.
No, I said a gynecologist.
Yes. Next is Eric Sherman of Peoria, Illinois. And Eric, your question is?
What effect has the video revolution had on heavy metal music in general, and specifically that of Judas Priest?
I think basically it's just opened the whole area up again for us, you know. It allows us to let everybody see us in a different light outside of our shows and outside of records. I think it lets people see you in a slightly different dimension. We have a lot of fun when we make our videos, as you've probably seen. We use all different types of storylines and different plots and stuff. So we just have a great kick out of doing it. We've never really taken our video work that ultra seriously. You know, some bands tend to get too, you know, surreal and heavy with it, but we like to have fun and we like to make them entertaining. So it's just another medium that you see us in. We have a great time doing them.
I don't think it particularly sells that almost a lot more records or anything like that, but it's a great thing it's a great pastime, isn't it, to be able to watch some rock videos here and there. It's a good thing.
It's good because we've been through 2 eras of heavy metal, really. You know, when it first originated, we were there, and now we're still there with the so-called resurgence. Although to us, it's never really been that far away because you know, we've always had successful tours and that. But in general, there was a sort of a decline. But you people have kept it there, and that's.
Give yourself some
Next from Peoria, Illinois is Anna Alexander. Anna, your question?
Okay. Other than yourselves, what other groups do you like to listen to?
We've all got different tastes, you know. Do you mean in the heavy metal field or just in general?
Any group.
Well, the Scorpions, UFO, Ingve Malmsteen, you name it, it goes on forever, doesn't it, really?
We've got to listen to all heavy metal bands, but usually we do that on an awareness level because you have to be aware of your competition or what's happening or what's new or what people want. The bands that are happening today are really the demand from the kids, so you can never not listen to them, you know. But I think personally on a musical level, myself anyway, I don't very often listen to rock or heavy metal for an enjoyment level. We write it, rehearse it, record it, tour it, and get saturated with it. And to me, I like to listen to other things, you know, any form of music really. I think that's what makes us a little different as a band, because I know that Rob does as well and probably can. We listen to a lot of different things, but when we write, it comes out as heavy metal, so it's a little different, you know. There's a lot of melody in there and things like that. So I think that's a good thing really from my point of view.
Like if you're cruising with the chickens, you put on the Scorpions, you just go, oh, turn it down, like, let's get something mellow on, you know what I mean?
Coming around to the Beethoven.
That type of thing.
Next is Gail Russell from Dunlap, Illinois. Gail, your question?
Do you feel heavy metal will always be around or eventually fade away?
I hope so.
Well, I think hopefully it's always going to be around. I think it will, because it's probably the only, I think it's probably the ultimate live type of show to see, and anybody that's experienced that is always going to want to experience that particular live excitement. Wouldn't you agree, folks? I mean,
Next questions come from Anna Corey of Peoria. Anna, your question?
I've often wondered what or who inspired the name of your group.
Yeah, everybody
that's another one because
that's a long story. Everybody's still arguing about who actually, you know, what it is. Basically, we just sort of juggled a lot of names around early on, a lot of words and stuff like that, you know, and it basically, it fitted the type of people that we were and the type of music that we wanted to play, so it basically came
Truth is, we were sitting around discussing it one day, and a big hand came out of the clouds, and some lightning struck down. It burned on the back of Rob's back, Judas Priest, and it's there, but nobody ever sees it, but it's there on Rob's back.
Next question comes from Michelle Bear from Canton, Illinois. Michelle, your question, please.
You gained new fans with Turbo, but also lost a few old fans who don't like the new direction. How do you feel about this?
I don't think we've lost any old fans. I think there's a few people, I mean, you can't please all of the people all of the time, and there's a few people that might not quite have accepted Turbo, just as a few people didn't accept Point of Entry. But that doesn't mean to say that's our new direction. And the very same people are coming to the shows and seeing the show and loving it anyway, you know. So you might see the odd letter where people Turbo isn't quite what they expected. But that doesn't mean to say our next album will follow that course. In fact, we've already written our next album. It's probably the heaviest thing that Judas Priest has ever written, you know. But you know, whether that'll come out next or a live album, we don't know. But just one album doesn't always pick the direction of Judas Priest. We're very likely to go somewhere else next, you know. But I don't think we've lost any fans. There may be a few people who just wasn't quite what they're expecting, but I don't think that they've just written us off. You know.
Michelle, was it? Do you know any people that, you know, don't like us anymore because of our last album? Because you obviously probably do. Oh, there you go. But
you didn't know about the next one? That's what I'm trying to say.
Did they buy the record? What's their names and addresses?
Next, we have Eric Turner from Washington, Illinois. Eric, your question, please.
Who were you influenced by in the earlier days?
I was influenced by probably just about everybody that was playing. Sort of Hendrix, Clapton, John Mayall, a band called Taste. It goes on forever, really. Even the Free, their early stuff, you know, and just about everybody around was good at that time, wasn't it? Lots of bands that didn't even make it to the States, like Blood and Pig, and 10 years after made it over here, didn't they? You know, lots of bands like that used to pass through Birmingham every day, you know, so we were very lucky in that sense.
How about you, Ian? What were your influences?
Just about the same as Ken. All the early stuff that was going around at the time was very innovative, you know. For the time, you listen to it now and it sounds pretty lame, you know. Pretty much the same sort of thing. The Creams and the Hendrixes. And
Ian used to buy some bootlegs of Tiny Tina albums.
Yeah, really. I used to practice for hours trying to sing in falsetto voices. And,
Thank you. Next question comes from Lori Green.
Play the ukulele.
Lori Green from Peoria, Illinois. Lori, your question, please.
You didn't know that?
Hi, Lori. How you doing?
What's the key to keeping you guys together? Is it the money, you know, success, or is it faith in music, the metal sound?
Well, insurance policies. One of us is going to go soon.
Well, you guys are all the beneficiaries of each other.
Yeah, we're all cross-insured, you know, so it's only a matter of time, folks. One of us is going to go. No, we're all sticking around to see which one has the biggest accident first. Like, no, I think it's probably just like the first 7 years is the worst, like any marriage or something. You know, but, no, it's just that basically that it's like Glenn. He's a wizard, really. Did you see him? He caught that fly there, single-handed.
Kung Fu. Chopsticks.
I guess actually it's probably there's a saying called older the wiser, and I think it's a case of like we know that bands that stick together and you got more chance of making it big, and this is a good thing for any guys or any of you people out there that are considering starting up a band. It's very important that what you do, you make sure you pick the right members and really try and make a good effort to stick together, because the longer you do, the better you perform together, you get to know each other musically inside and out, and if you can stick through the first, you know, get used to each other, and everybody try and, you know, give a little and take a little here and there. It's definitely beneficial to every group going, because let's face it, the Rolling Stones and bands like that are still together after all these years, you know, they're the ones that are real legends, you know, and that's very important. I mean, isn't it a shame about Van Halen, folks? Isn't it? But that's life, isn't it? That type of thing, you know.
There's been a lot of bands that have split up and always reform, you know. I can't see it. Can't see it. Yeah, and so we don't see any reason to split up and reform. We might as well stick together. And I think it's a shame when... I mean, we've never had luck as a band. We've always worked for what we've got.
The Monkeys and the Beach Boys.
But I think that our luck was in becoming members of a band that the formula was just right in. And so, you know, when you get a formula that's just right, it's a shame to waste it, really.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next, from Canton, Illinois, is Bobby Long. Bobby, your question, please.
How do you, the group members, rate your albums? Which one's the best, the worst, and why?
I think that any group that asked that question would actually have to say that their latest album is the best album, because it probably costs the most for a start-off, and also that they feel that, as we certainly do, that it's, you know, that you have to progress in the music business, both as individual musicians and as a band, and I think we've always felt that anything that we put out has got to be, you know, not only technically but musically and band-wise better than anything we've done before, because you've got to move with the times, you can't stand still, and you certainly can't go backwards. And so I'd have to say that the most recent release a band always considers, you know, or should certainly consider its best release, and I'm sure we certainly do.
I think Turbo, Screaming for Vengeance and British Steel are probably my three favourite albums. Although every album's got its merits, ranging right back to Sad Wings of Destiny. And even Point of Entry, which is a little diverse, has got some classic tracks on there. Those are the three that I think are little turning points in the career, little changes, milestones.
Okay, next question comes from Aaron Fletcher from Peoria, Illinois. Aaron, your question, please.
Have you ever made a song that you really didn't like at the time, but you went ahead and went with it, and it was your best song you've ever made? And if you did, which one was it?
Interesting question.
Good question there.
Good question.
Interesting question.
Stand up again. Come on, stand up. we haven't answered it yet. I don't know. Anybody got any thoughts on it? We usually don't put anything on the album that we don't all like. Yeah, well, thank you. Well, I don't think I can honestly say we've never put a track on an album that we haven't been sure about. So really, I think the answer is no. I don't think we've ever disliked a song as a band, or released a song as a band that we didn't like. Am I right?
Yeah, I would say so. I think we did another thing coming, and we didn't really realise what we had there in the song until you get the reaction from the public, you know, and so we were pleasantly surprised. But Glenn's right, we don't put anything on a record unless we actually like it, you know. Even Eat Me Alive, we actually like that, don't we, fella? Contrary to popular belief.
Next question comes from Richard Krulak from Peoria, Illinois. Richard, your question, please.
How are European audiences different from American audiences?
They talk a different language.
Go for it, Ian. Go on. Qualify that.
It's about the only difference. You know? The German audience is shouting German, and the French audience is, you know, shouting French. Other than that, they're, you know, pretty much on a par.
I think we felt all along that we really enjoy working in America so much, because you guys are so much more spontaneous. You're instant with your reaction towards us, you know. In Europe, there's a tendency to be in a situation where they maybe analyse the music a little bit too much. You know, when you're in concert, they tend to sit there or stand there and really examine every single thing that's going on. Whereas you guys, I mean, I'm sure you're interested with what's happening, but you go with the mood and the excitement and the flow. And we really get off on that because you probably draw more out of us in America than you do anywhere else, you know. We just, the more you react to us, the more that we give back. It's not fair to say any one audience is better than another one, but certainly from our standpoint, I think we feel that America's the place for us in terms of an audience. You know, you can't beat it.
Next is Ginger Clark from Bloomington. Ginger, your question, please.
Judge your head, dog, Ginger.
Which aspect of your profession do you find the hardest, writing, recording, or touring?
All of them. I think writing probably to a certain extent, because it's very difficult to write good quality, melodic, modern heavy metal music, you know. It's very easy to go in and do like 24 bars of the riff of A, you know, and then change key or whatever. It's difficult to really write something that is good structurally, it's got melody, it's interesting, it's entertaining, it's good to listen to. That probably is, from my point of view, the most difficult side of it. Because once you've got that down, the rest of it, recording is difficult too, because then you've got to really translate that and make it sound good on record. But actually pulling songs from thin air when you sit down and create something from nothing and make it good, especially when you've got a track record to keep up with over 10 years of making albums, it's pretty difficult, you know, but perseverance and a bit of burning the midnight oil, it usually comes around in the end.
Okay, next we have Stuart Johnson from Morton, Illinois. Stuart, your question, please.
Okay, my question, and Dave isn't here, but I was wondering, after recording with drummers John Hinch, Alan Moore, Simon Phillips, and then Les Binks, after that, how did you find Dave Holland, and what made you decide to get a permanent drummer? Was it the success of the band?
We never really wanted a series of drummers. To be honest, it was a series of unfortunate incidents or whatever, you know. It was just fate, really. And because we feel, as we said before, that really the key to a stable band is no personal changes, you know. And so we've never really wanted to do that. And Simon Phillips only did the album because we hadn't got a permanent drummer at the time. He never considered joining the band because our sort of touring is too strenuous for a drummer like Simon Phillips, great session drummer, but to come on the road with a band like us, it would have been much too much for him, you know. And with previous drummers, there was personality differences to start with, but then other things occurred. It was a series of events, unfortunately. And then Dave joined us, and since then, you know, Dave's been a good backbone to the band. And
so was he still with Trapeze then?
He was, actually, yeah.
When you found him, he was still in Trapeze?
Well, yeah, but they were really they weren't really working.
Back together or something.
Yeah, because Glenn Hughes had joined Deep Purple, and I think Dave, the existing Trapezers, you know, that we took Dave from was virtually sort of on the split anyway, you know.
Next question comes from Wendy Ort from Peoria. Wendy, your question, please.
When you first started your band, did you think you would come as far as you are today?
No, I don't think you ever do, really. I think it's probably a dream, you know, when you first get together in a band. It's great just to be in a band for a start off. I think it's to a certain extent, every person's dream, every guy's dream to, you know, stand on a stage, stand in front of a mirror with a guitar, with a microphone. But to get this far is just a wonderful thing for us to be doing, you know, after so many years. We're very lucky. It's been a lot of hard work, of course, but I don't think you can ever say that, like, if you'd have said to us like 10 years, 12 years ago, you'll be sitting in a backstage at Peoria, Illinois, doing an interview with a bunch of people. You can't really say. You just go through the motions, and it's luck, and it's very, very hard work, going one step at a time, you know, and anything beyond the next thing that comes along is just a great thing, you know. It's
a really good question, that is, because you know, you've always got a belief that you're going to be successful. If you didn't have that belief, I genuinely believe you wouldn't make it. But we all come from working class backgrounds, and sometimes, you know, even we have to stop and can't quite believe, you know, the level we've attained. And we really are, after all, four normal guys, you know. people make you stars because of the media and because of, I suppose, of your albums and videos and things like that. So it's, you know, it's coming from us directly. We really appreciate what we've achieved. It's not like that we're, you know, real casual about it. And I think some bands can fall into the trap of believing that there's something they're really not. I think that's one of the reasons we've stuck together, because we've still got our feet on the ground. And of quite, you know, we're glad that we've attained this level of success.
The bottom line is we're eternally grateful for you, because without you we wouldn't be here, you know. It's simple as that.
It's good to hear it. It's very good to hear. Next question comes from Scott Mullins from Normal, Illinois. Scott, your question, please.
Okay, you have 19 songs written for the Turbo album, but use only 9. Will the other 10 make a new album up in the future?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, we've got them pretty. They're all recorded. We've got to mix and maybe do a bit of overdubbing. But you may have heard the story that at one point we were going to release a double album, but through logistics and price problems and stuff, it didn't work out. So we picked the songs that we felt were good to put together for one album in the form of Turbo. And we've got some killer material left over, which we will use one way or another, either as another album or as
very heavy metal, isn't it?
Or as another series of releases with singles, or maybe even on the live album we'll incorporate something, you know. But you won't lose them. In the past we've recorded stuff and it's never been released, you know, collecting dust on shelves in recording studios around the world. Maybe when it's all over, we might even collect that stuff from the past. But right now, we do have.
Somebody else will.
We do have at least 9 songs, I think, isn't it, that we're going to put out. Some killer songs, really good stuff. So you'll get to hear it sometime next year.
Next from Normal, Illinois, one of my favorite questions, gentlemen, is Mike Whithoff. Mike, your question, please.
Hi. When you're on road touring, what do you do to unwind, like after a show?
We can't tell you. Be censored and tell you.
There'd be too many bleeps and stuff, so.
Things like this. We do press interviews, you know, things. We generally after show we have a drink, we have something to eat if we can get anything down, and we just relax and then party violently for about another 4 hours.
And finally, we have Rachel Toft from Washington, Illinois. Rachel, your question, please.
Do you think it's necessary for rock groups to make videos?
It's not absolutely necessary. I think it's good fun to do. Like we said earlier on, I think that some bands fall in the trap of making videos and then they're not able to put it out live on stage. Bottom line is, if you write good music, you've got to be able to deliver from that stage in a live performance. And I know I've seen bands who make really stunning videos and they wimp out when they walk out on a stage in front of people. So it's a good medium. To a certain extent, it's a big commercial plug for your new album, and so we try not to take that side of it as too business-like. We just have a good time doing them, but they're not the bottom line. I think that it's just another side of the band that's fun to look at.
It's just ultimately beneficial because one play on sort of certain video TV stations can take a band like ourselves into a lot more homes in a certain town like Peoria than to people we actually play to on a concert on a night, you know. So you never know, some of you guys' mums and dads might actually like the song and might not think we're too bad after all, you know.
And it's good to see us, I guess, when we're not here, when we're, you know, in Tokyo or Berlin. At least you've got a chance to see us on your TV, crank the volume up and get down with some Priest, man.
I'm Phil Manighi from 106 Radio. I'd like to thank the members of Judas Priest for taking the time to do this. It was an excellent show, gentlemen. We had some excellent questions here.
We'd like to thank the people for asking the questions.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, very good.
It's been good.
Thank you again. Continued success.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Judas Priest.
Back to our stage.